Hi, this is Dan from Hello Music Theory. In this series of videos, I'm going through some of the types of questions that could come up in an ABRSM Grade 1 Music Theory exam. But for this video, we're going to be looking at how to add missing bar lines to an extract of music. So when you get approached with this question in an exam or in a past paper, the most important bit of information you need to be looking at is the time signature, as this is going to determine how many beats there are before we add a bar line. The second good bit of information is that where this first bar line is. For grade 1, they will always add in the first bar line for you already completed. So this point here is where we're going to be starting from. Okay? And then we're going to go through, count how many beats there are in a bar, and then we're going to add a bar line. Nice and easy. So this first crotchet after the first bar line is worth 1 crotchet beat. Then we've got another crotchet. There's obviously 2, and then we've got 2 quavers, which are worth half a beat each, followed by 1 crotchet. So as I mentioned, the time signature is 4/4. That means there are 4 crotchet beats in a bar. And I count here 1, 2, 3, 4 crotchet beats. So that means that after this last crotchet, I'm going to write in a bar line because there are going to be 4 crotchet beats in that bar. Then we just repeat this and carry on till we reach the end. So let's do the third bar actually, isn't it? So we've got a crotchet here. We've got another crotchet. We've got a quaver rest, which is worth half a beat. And next to it, there's a quaver note, which is also worth half. A half plus a half obviously equals a whole. And then we've got another crotchet, which is worth 1. If we count up these, I think these are up to 4. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 crotchet beats in this, so we can safely write in another bar line. Now, if we've done these two bars correctly, this last bar should add up to 4 as well. So we'll check that we've got it right by doing this bar as well. So we've got a dotted crotchet, which is the crotchet on its own is worth 1 beat. And the dot obviously adds on half of the note's value again. So we've got 1.5 beats represented by this note. Then we've got a quaver, which is a half. 1.5 plus a half equals 2. So these two notes here add up to 2 crotchet beats. And then to finish this bar in this extract, we've got a minim beat, which is worth 2 crotchet beats, because there are 2 crotchets in a minim. So we've got 2 plus 2 equals 4, which means that our time signature over here, that this bar is correct to the time signature. So we can safely say that these 2 bars are correct. But we'll have another look at an example, and hopefully you'll get the hang of it by the end of this video. So again, the first thing to look at is the time signature. This one is in 2/4. So that means that there are going to be 2 crotchet beats in each bar. So we look for the first bar, which is here, and this is where we're going to start writing in the bar lines from. So we can count here, we've got a dotted crotchet. So the crotchet on its own is worth 1 beat, and then we've got the dot is worth half a beat, because it's half of the note's value. And then we've got a quaver next to it, which is worth half a beat. 1.5 plus a half equals 2. And because our time signature over here is in 2/4, that means we can write in a bar line because there are 2 crotchet beats in this bar. Nice and easy. Let's keep going. So we've got a quaver rest there, which is worth half a beat, and we've got another quaver next to it, which is half a beat. Those together equals 1 beat. We need to find one more beat though, because we're halfway through this bar. So we've got a quaver, which is worth half. Then we've got 2 semiquavers. Now a semiquaver is worth 1/4 of a beat. So we've got 2 of them. 2 quarters equals a half, and a half plus a half equals 1. There are a lot of fractions in this video as well. Sorry about that. So we've got 1, 2 beats, which means that we can write in a bar line just here. Not long to go. Let's keep moving on. We've got again, we've got 2 semiquavers, which are worth 1/4 of a beat each, and then we've got a quaver, which is worth half a beat. Oh, sorry, let me rub that out. So 2 quarters plus a half equals 1 whole beat. And then we've got a nice and easy, we've got a crotchet, So we've got, I can count 2 beats there, so we can safely write in another bar line. And again, I think this is probably going to be the last bar line that we draw, but we just need to check that this bar line here, this bar here, adds up to 4 as well. Oh, sorry, our time signature this time is 2, isn't it? So we need to check that this adds up to 2 to check we've done the previous ones right. So we've got a dotted quaver. So a dotted quaver is worth 3/4 of a beat, because the quaver on its own is worth half a beat, and then the dot adds on half of the note's value again, so it's going to be 1/2 and 1/4, which equals 3/4. Then we've got a semiquaver next to it, which is obviously worth 1/4 of a beat. Those together added up equals 1 crotchet beat. Then we've got 2 more semiquavers, a 1/4 each, and a quaver again, much like most of the other examples in this extract, equals 1 beat. So we've got 1, 2. That means that these bar lines are all correct. Let's do one last example in 3/4 so that you can then go and have a go at some examples. So again, this one's in 3/4. That means there's going to be 3 crotchet beats in each bar. We look for the example bar line that they've drawn, which is here, which means that we start just after that. So we've got a dotted quaver, which is worth 3/4 of a beat, followed by a semiquaver, which is a 1/4 of a beat. That adds up to 1 beat. We've got 2 more semiquavers, which are a 1/4 each, and then a quaver. Those 3 add up to 1 crotchet beat. Then we've got a quaver rest, followed by a quaver note, which also adds up to 1. Now the time signature, as we know, is in 3/4. So we've got 1 beat there, we've got a second, we've got a third. That means after this note, we can write in a bar line. Let's keep going, nearly there, nearly at the end. So we're at 1/2 a beat here with this quaver, another 1/2 a beat. That adds up to 1 beat. We've got a quaver rest, another 1/2 a beat, another quaver, 1/2 a beat. We've got, which adds up to 1, doesn't it, as well? Drawing the 1, and then we've got a quaver. Oh, okay, here, look at this. We've got a quaver note, but it's tied here. What does that mean? Well, quite often ties are used to extend a note over a bar line. So this is already a big clue that the bar line is going to go after this note here. So let's just check that this adds up to 3 beats. So we've got these 2 here, which add up to 1. Yep, we've got a second beat there. We've got a third beat here. Let me write that again. Third beat there. Our time signature is 3/4. So that means we can safely write in another bar line over that tied note. So we're nearly at the end here. Let's keep going and see where we end up. We've got a dotted crotchet. So the crotchet on its own is worth 1, plus the dot is worth 1/2, so it's 1.5 beats. Then we've got a quaver. Those together add up to 2 beats. Then we've got 2 quavers, which are 1/2 a beat each. That adds up to 1. 1 plus 2 equals 3, so that means we add a bar line in here. And again, we're just going to check that our last bar adds up to 3 so that we know that the last bar lines we've written in are correct. So we've got a crotchet, which is worth 1 beat, and a minim, which is worth 2 beats. 1 plus 2 equals 3. That means that these 3 bar lines are correct. So hopefully that is starting to make sense and you're getting the idea of how to approach these sort of questions. I'll be back again next week with another video where we'll cover a different exam question that could come up. Hope you're enjoying it.